What does 9/11 mean to you? What's the significance of it? Where were you when it happened, for example?
Well, I was in Chicago. I was in the state legislature at the time. I still remember driving down Lakeshore Drive on my way to a committee hearing downtown and hearing the initial report. And it was still confused then whether it was an accident, what had happened. By the time I got downtown, we started evacuating the buildings, and then we all watched in horror on television. And it, like I think for most people, it is indelible. And it is a reminder not only of the terrible potential for evil in the world, but it's also a reminder of what America does at the toughest times, which is to come together. I mean, when I think of 9/11, I think of that spirit after the tragedy had occurred, how the outpouring of patriotism, emotion, volunteerism, the desire for service was in the minds of everyone. And that was also a moment when the petty bickering and partisanship that comes to characterize our public life was set aside. And so the question is, how do we recreate that spirit, not just during times of tragedy, not just during 9/11, but how do we honor those who died, those who sacrificed, the firefighters, the police officers? How do we honor them every day? How does it reflect itself in our government? How does it reflect ourselves in how we conduct our own civic life? My sense is that the country yearns for that. It's hungry for it. And what has been missing is a president and a White House that taps into that yearning in a serious way.
Well, Senator McCain actually agreed with that a few minutes ago. He said that if he had been president, he would have used that opportunity to ask the country to serve, to ask people to serve. What's different about what you're saying?
Well, I'm not sure there is anything different. What I know is that had I been president at the time, and I have to say the president did rally the nation in a speech at Ground Zero, and subsequently we went after those who had attacked us appropriately. But rather than tell the American people to shop, what I would have done is to say, now is the time for us to meet some great challenges. We've been tested, and yet we have survived, and we are going to be stronger than we were. And the way we're going to be stronger than we were is to tap into the feeling that everybody has been caught up in. We're going to have a bold energy plan that says that we are going to reduce our dependence on foreign oil by 20 or 30% over the course of a decade or two. We are going to ask all citizens to participate in that process, not just government, but each and every one of us are going to make commitments in terms of increasing fuel efficiency in our cars and our homes, and the government is going to be in partnership with citizens to make that happen. We are going to tap into this desire when it comes to first responders. You know, one of the striking things as you travel around the country is the number of small towns and medium-sized towns that rely exclusively on volunteer firefighters. And think about what we could have done all across the country as part of a Homeland Security initiative to organize groups around the country that could serve in those common ways. And I would have asked very explicitly for young people to engage in community service and military service. I was listening earlier the discussion about who serves in our military. And I think that had the president very clearly said this is not just going to be a war of a few of us, this is going to be an effort that mobilizes all of us, I think we would have had a different result.